Tonight,
our thoughts are with the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community.
shock and sorrow being felt across Canada and beyond following a mass shooting in BC that left 9 people dead. Also tonight, a fatal fire investigation takes a disturbing turn.
And have charged him with 2 counts of second-degree murder, as well as 2 counts of arson, disregard human life.
Why Winnipeg police have now laid charges against someone who was inside the home before the blaze broke out. Plus, serial animal killers learn their sentence.
The facts are unprecedented, so it's an unprecedented sentence.
How many years were handed down to a pair of Winnipeggers in a horrific animal abuse case as emotion boils over outside the courtroom? Flags are flying at half-mast tonight outside City Hall, a symbol of the sadness and sorrow sweeping across our city and country following one of the worst mass shootings in Canadian history. It happened at a home and school in the small community of Tumbler Ridge in northeastern BC. 9 people are dead, including the shooter, and another 25 are recovering from injuries. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Amid the shock and sorrow tonight, thoughts and prayers are pouring in from many here in Manitoba to the families and community affected. Premier Wab Kinew posted a statement to social media saying, "Our thoughts are with the people of Tumbler Ridge, the students, families, educators, and first responders facing an unthinkable tragedy." And Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says he reached out to the community's mayor to express his condolences. Here's what we know so far about what happened. This afternoon, Mounties revised the death toll from 10 to 9, saying police at first thought one of the victims airlifted to hospital died. 6 people were found dead at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, a 39-year-old female teacher and 5 students, 3 12-year-old girls and 2 boys, ages 12 and 13. The 39-year-old mother of the shooter, along with their 11-year-old stepbrother, was also killed.
So the suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
The shooter has been identified, as you heard, as 18-year-old Jessie Van Rootseller. RCMP say they identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and on social media. And Jessie was born a biological male. We will have much more on the police investigation and the concerns this has raised over school security in this country. That is all coming up a little later in the newscast. A Winnipeg man and woman who admitted to torturing and killing 90 animals and then selling videos of their crimes faced the consequences of those actions today. A judge sentenced the pair to 12 years in prison and banned them from ever being near an animal again. CTV's Joseph Bernacki was in the courtroom as that sentence was handed down and joins us now live with reaction. So, Joseph, what was the scene like in court today?
Marilee, the tense courtroom was packed. Media, activists, and the defendants' families filled the gallery. Anger even spilled over into the hall once the sentence was handed down. Protesters and family members shouted at one another. Expletives were thrown. I was startled myself when I was on the scene earlier this afternoon as officers had to break it up. It shows just how much emotion this case has stirred up in the public. A warning now, the details are very graphic in nature. Justice Jeffrey Harris did not mince words. You did it, and you did it. He called the actions of Chad Kabbetts and Irene Lima absolutely despicable. You tortured and killed 90 animals for your own twisted gratification. Crown Prosecutor Boyd McGill recapped evidence showing 6 months of animal cruelty committed by the pair. They made $2,800 by selling explicit videos of animals like cats and rabbits being killed. The court accepted the joint recommendation of 12 years with time served. They've served about 2 years each already. The horrific brutality we are dealing with here, these videos were minutes long, lengthy videos of suffering and then death. Even Chad Kabbetts' lawyer, Ethan Pollock, said in court his client's actions were entirely indefensible, saying in part, 12 years is an incredibly serious sanction and is warranted. Family members of the accused sat stunned as the pair admitted what they had done. Each read a statement admitting their guilt. 56-year-old Irene Lima said quietly, "There is not a day I wish I could go back and change everything." Her ex-boyfriend Cabots broke down as he read his statement. The 41-year-old apologized to Lima's family and said there is no justification for what they did. I stand here before you today, struggling to ask for forgiveness. Outside of court, Christy Zamonski, director of Project Artemis, an animal rights group, said the sentences fit the crimes.
I've been an animal advocate for a very long time, and I don't think that we expected 12 years. And it's just a very proud moment.
Lima's lawyer, Mike Cook, told media that it was a difficult case to defend and understands why it caused such a public uproar.
I firmly believe this case will be the leading case on cruelty to animals probably for the next 100 years. I understand their anger completely. It's a vile, disgusting file.
The case and sentencing is precedent-setting. The Humane Society of Manitoba said this marks the highest sentence ever handed down in a Canadian courtroom for animal cruelty.
All right, Joseph, how does it compare then to other cases like this we've seen, although not much compared to it, I imagine? Yeah, Marilee, I mean, the previous record in Canada was given to a Calgary woman after she was found guilty of torturing and killing multiple cats. She was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. The Humane Society said all animal cruelty cases cause ripples and affects anyone who cares for animals. All right, thanks for this, Joseph. An early morning shooting in the Daniel McIntyre neighborhood is under investigation tonight. Yellow police tape could be seen blocking access to a home in the 600 block of Agnes Street, along with some neighboring properties. Winnipeg police were called to the area around 7 o'clock this morning, and a few hours later, a pair of cruisers could still be seen there guarding the scene. Police are not releasing many details tonight, only saying the investigation is, quote, evolving, and details will be released in the coming days. Some major developments tonight into a house fire on Agnes Street Saturday that left 2 people dead. Police now say it was deliberately set and have laid second-degree murder charges against a 30-year-old man. CTV's John Hendricks is standing by with the latest developments. John, do we know why this fire was set?
Barely, Winnipeg police allege a dispute between family members spiraled out of control, and investigators say the accused started the fire deliberately. And Marilee, this could have turned out so much worse. There were 19 people inside the home at the time.
It's miraculous that there were not more injuries and or fatalities in this incident.
The blaze happened Saturday morning at a home on Agnes Street. It took firefighters several hours to get under control. 5 people were taken to hospital. Now that's where 18-year-old Tiana Nataway and 48-year-old Crystal Mary Ellen Beardy died of their injuries. Police allege Nataway's 30-year-old brother set the house's porch on fire following an argument.
The dispute was inside the home, so Mr. Nataway would have been inside the home when this family dispute erupted. As a result of the altercation, he left the home and used an incendiary device to set the outside of the home on fire. That quickly escalated. The house became engulfed in flames.
Douglas Wayne Jr. Nataway is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and arson with disregard for human life. He remains in custody. Now, none of the charges have been tested in court.
John, how are the other victims doing?
Police didn't share much today, Marilee. However, we were told on Monday that 3 of the other people who were hospitalized were in stable condition. All right. Thanks for this, John. A critical incident review is being done following the death of a 6-month-old boy at Winnipeg's Children's Hospital. Lou Tang says he was alerting nurses to problems with his son, Luca, while his vital signs were being monitored for 10 hours in the emergency department. Tang says he trusted the system to help his baby boy. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live with what unfolded. Jeff, what are health officials saying tonight?
That proper protocols were followed in Luca's case and that staffing was at full capacity on that day in the ER. Still, this review is being done to see if more can be learned. A Winnipeg father is questioning the care provided to his infant son after the 6-month-old died at Children's Hospital.
We never get through this.
Lou Tang says his son Luca was born in July with a condition where his esophagus does not connect to his stomach. Luca required several procedures to stretch and widen the esophagus.
Mom thinks this baby bright as hope for our life and brightness like sunshine.
But in mid-January, following his 8th procedure, Tang noticed something was wrong and took Luca to Children's ER.
He has some problem with drinking, very uncommon, coughing, choke.
Tang says at the hospital they discovered a hole in Luca's esophagus, potentially a complication from the last procedure. He says his vital signs were being monitored, but Tang says Luca was not doing well and he was alerting staff at the hospital. And then 10 hours from when they first arrived, his dad says Luca was rushed into emergency surgery and did not survive. Tang believes if he'd gotten care earlier, Luca would still be alive.
I fully trust them. I just keep telling them the vital is not good.
Manitoba's health minister says proper protocols were followed for a case like Luca's, but a critical incident review has been ordered.
We also need to understand if there was an opportunity here that the health team can learn from moving forward. I know that they are following protocol specific to the condition that this child has.
And a shared health physician says the day Luca was at Children's ER, staffing was at full capacity and beds were available.
When the infant presented to the emergency department, the triaging protocols or processes were appropriately followed.
Now, as for that critical incident review, a preliminary report is set to come back within 30 days, a full report within 90 days.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. The province is set to study ways to take a bite out of your grocery bills amid rising prices at the checkout.
Manitobans should be paying apples to apples prices. They should be able to know that when they go to a grocery store that there's going to be consistency and transparency in pricing. But right now, there's a risk that they may not be. So we want to know more about that so we can understand how we can respond to it.
Finance Minister Adrian Salas says the study will focus on what's driving rising grocery prices and come up with, quote, real workable actions the government can take to bring costs down. Salas says much of the study will target predatory or dynamic pricing. That's when grocers alter food prices based on demand, inventory, competitor behavior, or consumer data. One analyst says there's no evidence Canadian grocers are actually using dynamic pricing right now.
It doesn't mean that it won't happen. That's the thing, because it is there's this push with AI or from AI to change pricing strategies, really. I would say that there is dynamic pricing going on up the food chain, of course, with suppliers and manufacturers. That certainly is something that we have seen before.
The province says a team from the Manitoba Bureau of Statistics will examine end-to-end grocery prices, pricing practices, competition, and access to food. And Finance Minister Adrian Salas says the findings will help guide next steps like potential affordability measures in the 2026 budget. Canadian airlines are suspending flights to Cuba as a U.S. oil blockade has pushed the country into an energy crisis. And for Winnipeggers with family living on the island nation, blackouts have cut off communication, leaving them in the dark. CTV's Danton Unger reports.
It's turning bad now in this moment.
Winnipeg resident Luis Escalona's entire family lives in Cuba, and as the country grapples with a worsening energy crisis, he says rolling blackouts have left communication difficult at best.
I am really concerned about what is going on, what is going to happen. I don't know.
He and his wife Monique Beliveau had visited Cuba last month and were planning to return in mid-March, but now that trip has been cancelled.
I have a lot of medicine and everything to bring to my family, friends, or whatever needed. At this moment, and now I can't do that.
This as major Canadian airlines suspended flights to Cuba amid warnings that jet fuel will be unavailable at airports due to fuel shortages caused by a U.S. oil blockade. The Trump administration has cut off the Caribbean island nation from its main petroleum sources in Mexico and Venezuela.
This is an asphyxiation campaign.
Here in Winnipeg, the Canadian Network for Cuba has been organizing rallies to protest the U.S. actions and have launched a petition calling on the federal government to push back.
Demands that Canada take a stand against the U.S. blockade and deepen policies of friendship and cooperation with Cuba.
Meanwhile, Beliveau says she's been in contact with friends staying at resorts in Cuba, tourist areas that have so far largely been protected from the power shortages.
They have the amazing service, the beautiful beach. They don't see anything that's going on in the real Cuba because the tourism industry in Cuba is the most important.
But she says with aviation fuel scarce, her friends are starting to get worried about how they'll get home.
A few of them were panicking, and I said to them, just take a breath. You're not going to be left there.
Air Canada and WestJet have confirmed empty planes are flying to Cuba with enough fuel to get travelers back to Canada. But for Escalona's family, their future is uncertain.
My fear, I don't know what is going to happen.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. What are you tracking for us tonight, Colleen?
Well, we're off to a mild start to the week, and if you've liked it how it's been so far, it's going to be even more mild for the rest of the week. So not a lot to tell you about. We did have that fog that developed overnight and into this morning, and really, we could be hitting the repeat button on the fog over the next few nights, including the night ahead. As we head into the evening, first some clear areas, some cloudier spots, so pretty uneventful conditions, but I'll share those mild temperatures with you coming up. But first, the CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfit, our exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg right now. Look how beautiful that sky is. It's -7 degrees, partly cloudy with those winds out of the south at 15 kilometers an hour. The wind chill feels more like -13. The pressure is rising, and the humidity right now merrily is 84%.
Thanks, Colleen. An inmate has died at Stony Mountain Institution. The Correctional Service of Canada says 32-year-old Craig Flett died yesterday. Flett started serving a life sentence in May of 2018. His next of kin have been notified, as well as police and the coroner. One person was sent to hospital following a fire at a St. James apartment building. Crews were called to this high-rise in the 200 block of Ronald Street around 8 o'clock last night. Smoke could be seen pouring from the building when they arrived. The fire was brought under control within about a half an hour's time. One person was sent to hospital in stable condition. It's not yet known what caused the fire. Belt-tightening measures from the federal government are resulting in job losses here in Winnipeg. CTV News has learned 7 employees from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights have been let go. At the moment, it's not clear what roles the employees had at the museum. While a spokesperson confirmed 7 people have been laid off, they wouldn't share any additional information. The latest federal budget outlined plans to reduce the size of the federal public service by 28,000 positions by 2029. Investigators are trying to piece together what could have motivated the mass shooter in Tumbler Ridge.
It could be in school counseling, all different sorts of things that could give them that one little piece of information.
What police have already learned about the mass shooter and what they're doing to find out even more. Ottawa has given Canada Post another $1 billion loan, but the federal procurement minister says the handouts are not a permanent solution. Ottawa's latest repayable loan comes in addition to similar loans in January of last year. Joel Lightbound says it's essential to ensure the Postal Service has the revenue it needs, but he also says Canada Post needs to transform itself, as Ottawa cannot continue to support the Crown Corporation to this current degree. Turning to the markets now, crude oil added 67 cents. The loonie fell to just 73.67 cents U.S. Gold futures jumped $67. The TSX closed fairly flat. The Dow Jones dropped 66 points, while the Nasdaq lost 36. Returning now to our top story, the horrific mass shooting in northeastern BC has family and community members mourn the victims. The investigation is ramping up into the suspected shooter. CTV's Kathy Lee is in Tumbler Ridge tonight as authorities try to determine a possible motive.
Police say 18-year-old Jesse Van Roetseler had dropped out of school 4 years ago and was known to police.
I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health.
Investigators are still working on 2 crime scenes, the school and the family home.
2 firearms A long gun and a modified handgun were recovered by responding officers. Determining the origin of these firearms and what role they played in the shootings remains a significant part of the active and ongoing investigation.
Without a known motive or a suspect to question, investigators will have to conduct interviews with family and friends to see if there were any signs or clues that Van Rootselaar was preparing to carry out something like this.
Quite often people say things and others think, oh, he doesn't really mean it. And then when this happens, they realize he did. Because they don't always come forward and report what friends say.
Any and all social media posts will likely be scanned, making sure no stone is left unturned.
It could be in school counseling, all different sorts of things that could give them that one little piece of information that says this could be why it happened.
Kathy.
To some breaking news now. The U.S. House of Representatives has just voted to slap back President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada. It's a rare, if largely symbolic, rebuke of the White House agenda as Republicans join Democrats over the objections of GOP leadership.
We are seeing growing opposition from within Donald Trump's own party about these tariffs, specifically as it relates to Canada, that many lawmakers simply believe that these tariffs on Canada are not only economically disastrous for Ottawa, but also for the United States.
6 House Republicans voted for the resolution. 1 Democrat voted against it. Trump still has the authority to veto the motion, even if it passes in the Senate. But the U.S. Supreme Court is also considering the legality of his administration's actions on trade. Also on Capitol Hill today, the U.S. Attorney General was in the hot seat, called to answer lawmakers' questions about the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. CTV's Joy Malbon has that story.
Facing questions about her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, this was never going to be easy for the U.S. Attorney General.
I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so.
After releasing 3 million documents, critics accuse Bondi's Justice Department of doing a sloppy job, from exposing survivors' privacy, failing to redact nude photos of victims, to allegations of protecting rich and powerful men, and scrubbing President Donald Trump's name from documents.
Please raise your hands.
And to Epstein survivors in the room, 1 Democrat demanded this of Bondi.
Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through? And I will reclaim my time.
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
At times, the hearing was more like a shouting match.
I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
As Bondi defended her department and the president, the Republican who helped spearhead the files release, accusing the Trump administration of a cover-up.
Because this is bigger than Watergate. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And with no real answers, survivors say they are still fighting for justice.
The people who have harmed us, they are hidden, while survivors have been exposed. This is not protection. This is betrayal.
And knowing the president was likely watching, Bondi defended the administration, telling lawmakers that there are, quote, pending investigations related to the Epstein files. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
U.S. authorities have released a man detained as a person of interest into the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. The man was arrested in southern Arizona during a traffic stop as police searched for the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. But after several hours in custody, he was released without being charged. The man says he's a delivery driver who works in the area.
I'll try to clear my name. I didn't do anything. I hope they get the suspect, because I'm not it.
The FBI is asking for the public's help in identifying the person seen in this doorbell camera footage. Video released by investigators shows a masked man armed at the 84-year-old's home the morning she disappeared. Researchers at the University of Manitoba are exploring a new technology which could modernize the way we monitor groundwater and aquifers. It's being done in partnership with an Alberta-based company that's long had its eye on silica sand extraction in our province. The technology is called absolute quantum gravimetry. Lead researcher Ricardo Mantilla says it's a technique that measures the force of gravity on substances beneath the Earth's surface without the need for drilling. In this case, he says it can be used to monitor any changes in aquifers. It's a relatively new technology, which is why Mantilla says he and his team first need to establish how effective it is in our region.
They can also be effective at identifying land subsidence, early detection of possible land subsidence because of changes in the mass underground, right? So these are things that are typically occur when there are large withdrawals of water from aquifers. There is the possibility of the land settling.
Mantilla expects to be ready to run tests late in the summer. The research is being sponsored by CO Silica, which says it will be providing funding and data. The company is awaiting the results of a second application to extract silica sand from eastern Manitoba. The first application met stiff opposition from locals and was rejected by the NDP government, partly over concerns to the potential impact on drinking water.
It's quite low underground through a series of tunnels.
A peek inside. We're going to take you on a tour of the newly upgraded North End Sewage Treatment Plant.
And a pretty mild long-range forecast for Winnipeg Friday. +1 under a mix of sun and cloud. First day of Festival. The weekend looks like it's going to be a little cloudier, but very mild. 0 on Saturday, 1 degree on Sunday. Mild overnight lows, too, for this time of year. Those lows are typically what our highs would be for this time of year. For perspective, Monday, -2, mix of sun and cloud. Cloudy Tuesday with a high near -3.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Winnipeg is nearing a significant milestone for the North End Sewage Treatment Plant. The first phase of the more than $3 billion project is months away from being completed. The finishing touches are now being put on the new Headworks facility. Earlier today, CTV photojournalist Jamie Dowsett got a look inside one of the biggest infrastructure projects in our city's history.
The sewer system in this area is all gravity flow. So it comes in at about 18 meters below our feet. So it's quite low underground through a series of tunnels. But to get it up higher so it can continue flowing by gravity throughout the plant, we basically lift it about 22 meters from the basement deep below us all the way to the top of the pipes. So this is one of the examples where the tie-ins between the projects, are quite significant, and because it is a live facility, we've had to undertake that work with divers, working nights on a 24/7 basis to fit it in with the plant operations. We're currently on the main floor of the pump station for the new Headworks. So there's 4 on each side. The pump station is designed to be fully symmetric, so one side can be shut down and being serviced while the other side is still fully operational. This is just everything that's smaller than 6 millimeters in here. The other end of the building is everything bigger than that. So the sticks, the children's toys, the hygiene products, everything you really don't want to deal with but have to. Think of a sump pump in your house. There's 8 sump pumps here, except they happen to be 7 stories tall and about 4,000 times larger.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and I heard you were out reading today.
Yeah, this group, they were fun. They were pre-K and in kindergarten. These were my friends out at Mary Kardash Child Care Center. We had a very, very animated conversation about what everyone wanted to be when they grow up. And I can tell you, we have 3 future police officers, a firefighter, but then get this, 3 ice cream makers, a unicorn, and a K-pop demon hunter. So a lot of fun with those kids. Thanks again for having having me out to read. A great group of kids. The night ahead, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot like it was last night. Really pretty uneventful, just not nearly as cold. As I showed you, these temperatures so mild for this time of year. A few clouds popping up on the satellite radar right now. Otherwise, a pretty uneventful night. Winds reasonably light. Next door in northwestern Ontario, after snow fell there yesterday, sunshine today. Clear to start. Some clouds will be moving into that region as well. Across the north, it's been mild too. Temperatures overnight tonight will be comparable to what we'll see here in the south for the most part. A little bit of snow really just skimming the northern border there with the Nunavut. That's about it for any kind of active weather whatsoever. Cloudy in parts of the north, further to the south of that. As we get in the overnight hours, you see some clearing out in the southwest. Some clouds hanging on here in the southeast, but again, watch out for the possibility of fog. Not uniformly across the province, but in much of the south and even parts of the north, as I'll show you in just a moment. As we get through the morning, it could get a little interesting. The futurecast here suggesting a little bit of action mid-morning, but that's just one forecast model. Otherwise, again, it should actually be quite a nice day. Nice mix of sun and cloud for most regions, including Winnipeg. A little bit of snow popping up there up in the northeast, but not a significant system, and it slides off into parts of northern and northwestern Ontario overnight as we make our way into Friday. Some sunshine here in the south as we get into Friday morning. Some snow for parts of the northwest as we get a little later on into the day on Friday. For tonight for Winnipeg, we drop down to -7 degrees. There is that possibility we could see fog develop again overnight. Now, we did see it in Winnipeg. It didn't really arrive until really mid-morning here in the city. Freezing fog, really. Also some mist. Brandon had mist overnight too. So really popping up in different parts of the province, but we could see it again tonight. Winds out of the south at 20 kilometers an hour at their top speed. Actually, they'll be lighter than that for most of the night. For the commute tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud, but there is the possibility of fog. So just be aware of that. That could reduce visibility for driving. -6 should be your temperature during the commute, up to a high tomorrow of 0 under a mix of sun and cloud. Winds out of the southwest at 15 kilometers an hour. Up in the north tonight, cloudy. Now, Churchill will see temperatures rise to around -12 by morning in some very strong and gusty south winds overnight. And Gillam, also seeing rising temperatures. Island Lake down to -11, -10 for Thompson. Clouds stick around Thompson tomorrow. Churchill likely to see a few flurries with a high of -11 degrees. Fog possible overnight tonight as far north as Lynn Lake, but Flin Flon, OCN, and the Pod. Now, not likely to see it in Norway House. It will be cloudy there, dropping down to -9. Flin Flon and the Pod, look at these temperatures, -1 and 0 respectively. Of Lynn Lake, Norway House -2. Mix of sun and cloud, or a little cloudier in some areas. In the southwest tonight, the best chance for fog developing is further south through Neepawa down into Brandon and those surrounding communities, dropping down to -9 degrees. Clearer through Dauphin and Swan River, overnight lows -7 and -9. Bright and sunny tomorrow. Look at these temperatures, 0 for Swan River, 2 degrees for Dauphin, -1 for Brandon and Neepawa. Winnipeg in the southeast tonight, partly cloudy, again with the possibility of fog for most areas. It really isn't expected around Barons River, but it certainly is for Winnipeg and the surrounding communities. Overnight lows -7, -8. For tomorrow, sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud for most areas. 0 for Winnipeg, up to 2 through Portage down into Morden and Winkler. Little cloudier for Pinawa and Sprague, but just as mild, 0 and 1 degree. Northwestern Ontario, partly cloudy for Kenora and Fort Frances. A little cloudier in Dryden, as cool as -15 in Dryden tonight. Sunny there, +1 tomorrow. Kenora 1 degree, a little cloudier. Fort Frances, a nice day, sunshine with a high of +3 degrees. Our first weather photo takes us out to the RM of Rockwood. That lovely shot was taken by Phil. Great one. And this is a really nice one too. This is from Sherry Ann. Now, I believe her vantage point was right around Portage and Main, up high, looking out at that freezing fog this morning with the sunshine too. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Schools were closed today in Tumbler Ridge, and the shooting, which put the high school in lockdown for hours, has all of us thinking about the safety of our own children and the loss of innocence. CTV's Heather right now on concerns over school security and how to talk to your kids.
There are roughly 15,000 public schools in Canada with varying degrees of security systems in place. Today, many parents and students, though, wondering, is their school safe?
The answer is yes.
public schools remain safe across this country.
Alan Campbell is the president of the Canadian School Boards Association and says provinces and territories all have safe school measures in place that include lockdown procedures. And while it's still too early to know exactly what happened at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School yesterday, school boards will be looking for any lessons that might help them improve school safety. Campbell says that could include locking all school doors during the day, which is done in most places, but not everywhere. School boards may also choose to do more drills during the year.
The minimum requirement is that schools are having lockdown drills and the like at least twice per school year. You know, is there a possible response to this event that sees that that frequency increasing? I think it's probably a reasonable thing to expect that in some jurisdictions those conversations will happen.
Other conversations happening include difficult questions being asked by kids and teens.
We're not used to hearing about like a high school shooting in Canada, and so it does make us, threaten our security and our safety.
Dr. Rebecca Calais-Riddell is a clinical psychologist and says when explaining the shooting to kids, the most important thing is to make them feel safe.
So keeping it, to a sentence that people were hurt, but there were a lot of brave people. And so with young kids, you want to kind of get in and get out and end with safety.
Dr. Riddell also suggests answering questions honestly, but limiting details that might be too much for young people to handle.
An urgent call for help. Why Canadian Blood Services says donations have fallen recently.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
It was a busy day for Canadians at the Milano Cortina Games, including a first Olympic podium for veteran ice dancers. CTV's Scott Hurst has more.
A podium finish for Canadian ice dancers Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier, their first Olympic medal.
They've been working really hard. They're an amazing pair together. They've been together for about 15 years now.
The three-time Olympians were in third after the rhythm dance. They put down a score of 131.56 in the free dance for a combined total of 217.74, and that secured them the bronze medal. Reigning Olympic silver medalist in the men's speed skating 1,000-meter, Laurent Dubreuil, was one of three Canadians racing for a medal in the event at Milano Cortina. Dubreuil, however, failed to reach the podium this time around, finishing 8th overall. A thrilling finish in the women's freestyle moguls event. Saskatchewan's Maya Schwinghammer reaching the top 8 medal round, putting down a final run score of 77.61. She was just off the podium, however, 5th in her first Olympic Games. Another Olympic final is booked for Elizabeth Hosking in snowboard halfpipe. The Quebec athlete in her third Olympic Games was 8th in qualifying today. The 12-rider final takes place on Thursday. 4 Canadians were taking part in the men's Super G. Jack Crawford, the top athlete wearing the maple leaf, placing 16th in the alpine skiing event, about a second and a half behind the winner. Medals were on the line in biathlon. The top Canadian was 23-year-old Calgarian Pascal Parody, finishing in 24th place. 4-player curling is now underway. Team Brad Jacobs opening up their Milano Cortina experience with a win over Germany. Men's hockey is now officially underway. Canada's first game is tomorrow against Czechia. The women will wrap up their preliminary round in a game tomorrow as well against Finland. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Two models of children's and youth helmets sold across Canada are being recalled due to the risk of head injury. Health Canada says you should immediately stop using these two models of outdoor master-branded helmets. They are the OM-TD Bike, which is blue with dinosaur print. The other is the OM-KSKB, which is deep green in color. The manufacturer dates and serial numbers are up on your screen. Health Canada says they may fail to protect a person in the event of a crash. However, there have so far been no reports of injuries. An oral at-home HIV test that delivers results in as little as 20 minutes is finally coming to Canada. OraQuick has been used in the U.S. for well over a decade. Its company confirms the self-test received a license to distribute from Health Canada. While it's not the first self-test on the market in Canada, it is the first oral swab which doesn't require a drop of blood. The oral option looks like a popsicle stick with a flat pad on one end that's swabbed along the gums. Experts say the less invasive option is an alternative for people who are queasy or hesitant about blood. Canadian Blood Services says cold temperatures have led to an urgent need for both blood and plasma donations. The agency says the winter weather and a rise in illness has held back many donors from booking appointments. The call for donors with O-negative blood is particularly urgent as it can be given to any patients. To encourage bookings, Canadian Blood Services has launched its Give and Get Away winter campaign. It will see anyone who schedules and shows up for a donation before March 31st entered into a draw to win round-trip tickets for 2 with Air Canada.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
The CTV Spotlight is next. Another star has joined an exclusive club. How much cash Britney Spears is getting for her music catalog.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting The Price is Right live.
We start with some sad news to share with you tonight. Actor James Van Der Beek has lost his battle with colorectal cancer. The news was confirmed on his Instagram account earlier this afternoon. The post says Van Der Beek passed away peacefully this morning. Van Der Beek shot to stardom in the late 90s as the titular character in Dawson's Creek. He later starred in the movie Varsity Blues and on TV in CSI Cyber. In 2024, Van Der Beek revealed he was being treated for colorectal cancer and auctioned off his personal memorabilia to fund his treatment. Van Der Beek is survived by his wife and 6 children. He was just 48 years old. The 2026 Winnipeg Whiskey Festival is gearing up to share more than 300 products from top whiskey and spirit makers around the world. It will feature small batch spirits from several craft Manitoban distilleries and gourmet food stations. The festival is also the largest annual fundraiser for the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame, with all ticket, raffle, and auction proceeds going in support of it. The 2-night event kicks off on March 6th and runs through Saturday, March 7th over at the RBC Convention Center. Academy Award winners Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are officially returning for a 4th installment of The Mummy.
You have unleashed the creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years. As the bringer of death, he will never stop.
Universal Pictures has set the movie for a wide theatrical release in May 2028. Fraser and Weisz will reprise their roles as adventurer Rick O'Connell and Egyptologist Evelyn O'Connell. Plot details remain under wraps. Britney Spears has become the latest musician to sell the rights to her catalog. It includes classic hits like Oops, I Did It Again and Baby One More Time. According to sources cited by celebrity site TMZ, the deal is believed to be worth around $200 million, although it's said the exact amount is not detailed in legal documents. Spears joins a growing list of artists who have sold their music rights in recent years, including Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, and Kiss. Oscar winner Michael Douglas will have a memoir out this fall. It's described as a raw, sweeping account he says will illuminate his storied personal and professional lives. The 81-year-old actor and son of Hollywood giant Kirk Douglas broke through in the 1970s in the hit TV series The Streets of San Francisco. He's survived cancer and substance abuse and is a longtime philanthropist and activist. Douglas's forthcoming book is currently untitled. Kick off your Wednesday primetime lineup with The Masked Singer starting at 7. Johnny Knoxville hosts Fear Factor House of Fear coming at 8. Shark Tank is at 9. And Shifting Gears winds up the night at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
A cold celebration. What this ice sculpture is being made to celebrate.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
Tonight, a tight NBC community plunged into grief.
Families
are just mourning in their own way.
What police are saying about the shooter's history and what we are learning about the victims of the tragedy. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Right now in Winnipeg, it is -7 degrees, partly cloudy, looking out at the river trail there. With those winds out of the south of 15 kilometers an hour, the wind chill feels like -13. Now, the highest temperature today, that was -5. We dropped to -19 degrees overnight. -9 is the normal high for this time of year. That's important because check this out. Look at these mild temperatures. Really, for the rest of the week and through the weekend, daytime highs should hit at least the freezing mark, if not a little bit warmer. These overnight lows are normally where we hit daytime highs for this time of year. Then we get into the week ahead. Next week, still mild for this time of year. Look at this, -2, -3 Monday, even into Tuesday.
Thanks, Colleen. A unique event is underway in Calgary to celebrate the Lunar New Year. Master ice carvers from China are demonstrating their skills in Calgary's Chinatown. They hail from a region world-renowned for its ice and snow artistry. The sculptures are inspired by significant symbols in Chinese culture, including the panda and the Chinese zodiac's Year of the Horse. The Chinese Lunar New Year is February 17th. We're used to snow sculptures here. That ice one's pretty impressive.
It's beautiful.
Lots of snow sculptures will be popping up. Festival officially starts Friday.
It starts Friday, and yeah, it'll be a little warm for those snow sculptures, but I think they should be okay. They look gorgeous, too, as always.
But a lot of fun for all the outdoor activities Festival brings. All right, we'll have much more on all of that tomorrow. Hope to see you then.